So essentially, what you end up finding through time, and it's like, okay, so people create ideas, and then these ideas become ideas, and they become other ideas, and the idea keeps continuing, but it's still like a foundation of them. And then between that, there's disagreements, right? And you have disagreements, they start crossing paths, right? You go back, forth, 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 back, forth. For like an infinite amount of time, and if you guys choose to play the game that one time I win, one time you win, one time you win, one time I 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 win. And if you go down that mechanism, right? And then you go backwards, right? And there's one time I win, one time you lose, one time you win, one time I lose, one time I win, one time you lose, one time you win, one time you lose, one time you win, one time I win, one time I win, one time you lose, one time I win, one time you lose, and then it creates a new cycle, right? There's like new ideas because it's no longer one time I win, one time you win, one time I win, one time you win, one time I lose, one time you win, one time I lose, one time you lose, one time I win, one time I lose, one time I lose, one time you win, one time I win, one time I win, and that's it becomes a pattern, right? And it all comes from our foundation. So it's all one language, and then we mimic it back out. So the people who talk less technically have the most advanced language. Because essentially they're creating less. There's less sound coming out of it. Or, I mean, but you have to vibrate in order to live. So no, technically they have the lowest sound. That's why they tend not to sound, because they cannot make a sound. Because they lost their self of sound. So they lost that vibration. They lost the chord idea of it. The chord idea of all understanding is that it's that. It's a vibration. It's always a vibration. The that is what moves things. So if you move that way, you understand that essentially the perfect waveform is always the ones that go ups and down. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. The thing is that like a lot of people, the misunderstanding behind that is that a lot of people think that ups and down actually work where like you like drop to a point of extreme. Like you go all the way up as you possibly can and then you drop. You go all the way up and you go as high as you possibly can and then you drop. As low as you can. Like it doesn't work that way. That's the point of the perfect waveform. It's just something that just woof, woof, woof. You know, like waves move in the ocean, like woof, 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 like that. But imagine that in like in a more faster passer rate, like, and I guess that's where you create shadows. That's what shadows does, and then you create colors, and then you create colors, and then you create symbols, and then after you create symbols, you start creating ideas, and the ideas create ideas, and the ideas, and bam, this is what life is now. Ideas between ideas. That's what life is. Ideas between ideas. That's a pretty cool statement.